plants to the left of me, sofa to the right. Here I am, stuck in a rut with you. Welcome to week 4 of the IsoLayton Chronicles. Here's where I'm at. Couldn't give a shit. Who am I kidding? I actually can. This is too much even for me. Yeah. It'll do. I tried shaving this week. Like, I got rid of this hair and this hair, but I noticed that this part of my chin is really irritated. It's like that when I shave everything off anyway, and I don't really know what to do with that. I thought I might try and, like, you know, go and see someone in a shop, and then I remembered, oh yeah, this is a hard week. I'm having a hard time this week. Preemptive thank you for your concern. Don't worry too much. I think I arrived at a point where it's like, there's only so much self-care that a person can do. And when a portion of my self-care are things like going to the movies or going for a window shop. So I toyed with the idea of not making a video because I didn't really like the idea of, well, frankly, first of all, I couldn't sit down and write. Second of all, I didn't really like the idea of being peppy and false. Sometimes it's nice to put on a happy face and wow. The whole fake it till you make it thing, I think does work sometimes, but I knew deep in my bones that faking it in this scenario, in this instance, would make it a lot worse. But I didn't want to not make a video because I think part of what I'm trying to do here is give us all comfort, and there's something in the fact that we must all recognise that this is an unknowable time. And it might sound quite weird, but there's a keep calm and carry on spirit that's doing the rounds. People are sharing all of these tips on how we're going to make it through together, and let's clap for the NHS and all of these wonderful things that are really helpful, but I don't want to not acknowledge that this is also rubbish. It's just hard. It's hard, isn't it? And I'm not sat here like complaining or trying to play a tiny violin, because there are people dying, Kim, but it is hard. It's hard. And I think when you find it hard, everything that is a coping mechanism is very hard in and of itself. So like, what a great opportunity to read all the books and to see all the movies. I haven't been able this week to settle on a single movie. Like, I have thought, well, maybe I'll watch Gladiator tonight, or hey, maybe I'm gonna do Avatar, all of those movies that I've not seen that are supposedly incredible. No, I'll just watch Pirates again, or I'll start Drag Race, or thank God for Drag Race, I swear to God. Put on Drag Race and do a crossword so I've got something to do with my hands. I've got in my bullet journal a giant list of movies that I haven't ever seen, that I've been meaning to see for years, and now I've got all this time, but I keep gravitating towards the stuff that I have watched tens of times because that's what's going to be comforting in the moment. And in that spirit, I wanted to try something in this video, and I'm aware that the watch time might sink because some people are going to switch off. It's not ASMR. It might be in a way. I don't really know. I don't really know how ASMR works. Not sure if it's going to work. I'm going to ask you to go with me on this. If you want to go and get comfy and lie down and close your eyes, if you want to grab a cup of tea and go and sit in your outside space or in your comfiest corner of your living room, just put some headphones on. There's nothing to watch. But I've liked doing the readings on the end of these videos, and with that in mind, I thought I'd try an elongated one.
There was once a man and a woman who had long wished vainly for a child. At last, the woman began to hope that God was granting their wish. At the back of their house was a little window looking out over a wonderful garden, full of the most beautiful flowers and vegetables. But it was surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared enter it, because it belonged to a sorceress, who was very powerful, and everyone was scared of her. One day, the woman was standing at this window looking down into the garden, and she caught sight of a bed of very fine Rapunzels. They looked so fresh and green that her mouth watered and she longed to eat some. Her craving grew stronger every day, and as she knew she couldn't have any of the Rapunzels, she began to waste away and look pale and wretched. Her husband was alarmed and asked, "My dear wife, what's the matter with you?" "Oh," she said, "unless I can get some of those Rapunzels to eat from the garden behind our house, I shall die." Her husband loved her dearly and thought to himself, "Rather than let my wife die, I must get some of the Rapunzels for her, whatever the cost." So that evening, as it was growing dark, he climbed over the wall into the sorceress's garden, hastily broke off a handful of Rapunzels, and took them back to his wife. She made some salad from them at once and ate it up greedily, but it had tasted so delicious that next day her craving was 3 times as strong. If she was to have any peace, her husband had to climb over into the garden again. So at nightfall, back he went. But when he got down the other side of the wall, he had the fright of his life, for there was the sorceress standing right in front of him. She glared at him angrily and said, "How dare you climb into my garden like a thief and steal my Rapunzels? You'll be sorry for this." "Oh, madam," he answered, "be merciful to me. I only dared because I had to. My wife saw your Rapunzels from her window, and she has taken so strong a fancy to them that she would die if she couldn't have some to eat." When the sorceress heard this, her anger lessened, and she said to him, If it is as you say, then I will allow you to take the Rapunzels, as many of them as you like, but on one condition. When your wife gives birth to her child, you must give it to me. It shall be well treated, and I will look after it like a mother." In his terror, the man promised her everything, and when his wife was delivered, the sorceress appeared at once, gave the child the name Rapunzel, and took it away with her. Rapunzel became the most beautiful little girl in the world. When she was 12, the sorceress shut her up in a tower in the middle of a forest. It had no stairs and no door, only a little window right at the top. And when the sorceress wanted to come in, she would stand at the foot of the tower and call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had wonderful long hair, as fine as spun gold. So when she heard the sorceress's voice, she would undo her braided hair and wind it round a hook in the window frame. Then down it would fall, 20 ells down, and the sorceress would climb upon it. After a few years, it happened that the king's son was riding through the forest, and as he was passing the tower, he heard someone singing so lovely a song that he stopped to listen. It was Rapunzel, who, in her loneliness, used to pass the time making music with her sweet voice. The prince wanted to go up and see her, and he tried to find a door into the tower, but there wasn't one. He rode home, but her singing had touched his heart so deeply that he went out every day into the forest to listen to it. One day, as he was standing there behind a tree, he saw a sorceress approach the tower and heard her call up to the window, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And Rapunzel let down her tresses, and the sorceress climbed up. "If that's the ladder that leads up to her," thought the prince, "I'll try my luck as well." And next day, as darkness was falling, he went to the tower and called up, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Down dropped her hair at once, and up climbed the prince. At first, Rapunzel had had the fright of her life when a man came through her window, for she had never seen one before. But the prince spoke very gently to her, and told her that his heart had been so moved by her singing that it had given him no peace, and he had to come and see her. Then Rapunzel wasn't afraid any longer, and when he asked her if she would take him as her husband, and she saw that he was young and handsome, she thought, "He'll love me better than my old godmamma." So she consented, and put her hand in his, and said, "I'll gladly come with you, but I don't know how I'll get down from here. You must bring a silk cord with you each time you come, and I'll make a ladder with them. When it's finished, I'll climb down, and you will put me on your horse." They agreed that until then he would come to her every evening, for during the day the old woman came. And the sorceress didn't notice anything was happening, until one day Rapunzel went and said to her, "Tell me, godmamma, why ever is it that you're getting so much heavier for me to pull up than the young prince? It takes him only a moment to get to me." "You godless child," cried the sorceress. "What's this you're telling me? I thought I had shut you away from the whole world, and yet you have deceived me." In her rage, she seized Rapunzel's beautiful hair, twisted it a few times around her left hand, and grabbed a pair of scissors with her right. Snip, snap they went, and off came the lovely tresses and dropped to the floor. And she was so hard-hearted that she took poor Rapunzel to a wilderness and left her there to live in great wretchedness and misery. But in the evening of the same day, when she had banished Rapunzel, the sorceress fastened the shorn-off hair to the hook on the window frame, and when the prince came and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," she let it down. The prince climbed up, but at the top he found not his dearest Rapunzel, but the sorceress, who glared at him with malicious rage. "Ho, ho," she cried, mockingly, "so you think you're going to fetch your lady sweetheart? But that fine bird's no longer in her nest and no longer singing. The cat has got her, and it'll soon scratch your eyes out too. You have lost Rapunzel, and you'll never see her again." At this, the prince was beside himself with grief, and in his despair he jumped down from the tower. He wasn't killed, but the thorns he fell into poked out his eyes. So he wandered about the forest, blind, eating nothing but roots and berries, and doing nothing but weeping and bewailing the loss of his dearest wife. For some years he wandered about in the wretchedness, till finally he came to the wilderness where Rapunzel was scraping a bare living for herself and the twin children that she had borne, a boy and a girl. He heard a voice singing that he thought he knew well, so he walked towards it, and as he approached, Rapunzel recognized him and fell on his neck and wept. But 2 of her tears dropped on his eyes, and the light was restored to them, and he could see again. He took her to his kingdom, where he was joyfully welcomed, and they lived for many more years, happy and contented.